I think the Patriots are, with or without Cam, whether it's Mac or Cam, I don't think their projection for the season changes that much. I don't think they're as good as Buffalo. I think they are going to be fighting and clawing with Miami to be the second playoff team out of the AFC East. I know you don't love the early season projections, but I think the AFC North's going to have a couple playoff teams. You know, Baltimore, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, pick two of the three. I think the AFC West is going to have a couple playoff teams in Kansas City and the Chargers. And I think the AFC South likely only has one. So that leaves two for the AFC East. The question is, will it be New England or Miami, assuming Buffalo doesn't fall off the map? So I think that's their ceiling. I think their ceiling is, I want to say 10-6, but I guess in this 11-6, 10-7, you know, in that range, and being a good, very well coached, good defensive, average offense. I think average offense is probably the ceiling, even with all the additions. That's how I land on it. What say you, Coach?
Well, the whole situation, it was so interesting. The fact that they cut Cam obviously means that they didn't feel like he could be a viable backup in the sense that I don't think it was from a performance standpoint, but from a nurturing and supportive standpoint. And they wanted to make sure that they took away any of the potential conflict from Mac Jones. So that they go all in on that aspect. The division is interesting because it's all young quarterbacks. It's got to be one of the youngest group of quarterbacks in any division of all time. So that allows you some hope in starting a young quarterback that you're going to compete with the rest of the division. And then you've got such an experienced coaching staff, which to me gives you an edge. It's hard to project how he's going to do because when you look at the Giants game, he played as long as he did, but it was really against the twos, and he still got sacked 4 times. And that's the biggest fear with a guy like Mac Jones is his mobility, his ability to get out of trouble, especially when teams start lighting him up, which in that division, they will light you up. That's a division that's filled with blitz-happy defensive coordinators and competent pass rushers. So with Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or any of those guys that don't have that escapability, they're so good at recognizing what's coming that they're still able to get the ball off and not take those hits. Where a guy like Mac Jones, as smart as he may be and as much as he's grown, what you see in college football is radically different than what you see in pro football. The level of disguise is completely different than what you see in college football. And that's going to be a big transition. So I'd imagine they'll protect him. But with that being said, if you're spending that time protecting your quarterback, you're not really producing a lot of offensive firepower. So I see it as being limited in terms of how much they can expect from him early. And then it's a question of can they survive the early part of the season where he matures into the role as the starter.
I think, Coach, that they can be a wild card team. I tend to agree with Nick. Buffalo, I believe, wins that division, but they'll battle Miami and some other teams for one of those last playoff spots in the AFC. Remember, they've improved dramatically elsewhere. The defense, we know Belichick's going to have his defense together. You get Dante Hightower back after sitting out for COVID last year. Offensively, they added the 2 tight ends, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith. They got one of the best offensive lines in the league. And Mac Jones, yes, he's going to have his ups and downs like any rookie, but I do think he's going to be solid. And I think, their running game is going to be good. Damian Harris averaged 5 yards a carry last year without any real threat to throw the football. And so now that you can throw the football better, I think Harris is going to have a nice little year. They obviously added some receivers as well. So I do think they are a real threat to make it to the playoffs. A lot of times we look at a rookie quarterback, Wilds, and we don't think he's going to have success because they tend not to. But we do go back to Ben Roethlisberger, 13-0 in Pittsburgh as a rookie, got that team to the AFC title game. So I'm not saying they go that far. No, don't get me wrong. But I do think that this could be a playoff team with Mac Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to be a playoff team. So like Broussard said, Big Ben won 13 games, went to the AFC title game. Joe Flacco won 11 games, went to the AFC title game, lost. All Mac Jones needs to do is be as good as Joe Flacco. Do I think he can do that? Yeah, I do. And guess who else we have here? We're going to bring somebody in who won a Super Bowl with a young quarterback because the defense did the job. Oh, it's Coach Mangini. What a wonderful, wonderful addition to the show. Coach, don't you think that Belichick and that defense can carry an inexperienced, young, limited quarterback who maybe throws for, averages under 200 yards a game, just like Tom Brady did, with a few breaks here and there, some of the Patriots' magic can get us deep into the playoffs?
Well, here's what I'll say is that young quarterback was Tom Brady, and if Mac Jones is Tom Brady, then sure. But when you look at the track record, the last starting quarterback that Bill had was a rookie was Eric Zaire back in 1995 in Cleveland, and he was 1-3. They've drafted 11 quarterbacks. I guess Jimmy Garoppolo's the best quarterback of that group that they drafted, and he didn't really start until year 4 or 5, so he had a ton of experience. And then you've got Matt Castle.
For cheating.
Matt Castle was another guy that didn't start till later on, and even Tom Brady didn't start his rookie year. He had a year to sit behind Drew Bledsoe and really learn. So this is uncharted waters outside of the Eric Zaire experiment in terms of how well a rookie can play in that system, which is extremely demanding intellectually against a division that's going to put challenges in that are different than a lot of teams. And the track record of 11 quarterbacks drafted, it's not one that, because there was 20 years to replace Tom Brady. So it's not a track record that you look at and go, okay, well they're nailing it. And even when we drafted Tom, we drafted him in the 6th round and kind of won the football lottery there. So there's a lot to be encouraged by from where he is intellectually, the fit of the system. But a young guy, they'll do a great job of protecting him. But it's still 4 sacks against the Giants' backup defense in a preseason game scares you.
And listen, Broussard, the fact that we're all saying they can compete for the playoffs is the ultimate measure of respect being given to Bill Belichick. Because I know they spent a ton of money this offseason, but they still have a wide receiver room that is Nelson Aguilar, Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, and N'Keal Harry, who wanted out of there. We are all saying the defense will be outstanding. Well, their best defensive player is hurt in Stephon Gilmore, right? And they are starting a rookie quarterback. Any other team starting a mid-first round rookie with that wide receiver room that was below 500 the previous year, we would not be saying, well, there you go. You know what I mean? 10, 11 wins competing. It is because, and by the way, he has obviously earned it. But it is the ultimate amount of deference being given to Belichick that we are even having this discussion.
I'm with you, Nick, and I've said many times that Belichick's the greatest coach in NFL history. But the facts are the facts. He has played 8 seasons or coached 8 seasons without Tom Brady. He's made the playoffs once. All right, there's a chip on his shoulder. It's the truth. It is the truth. The Brady or Belichick, who was more responsible argument is done, Wilds. It's over. All right, it's Brady. And that's not to say Belichick's not great, but I am here to say it's a what have you done for me lately world. All right, bring out Janet Jackson. That's what it is. And Belichick's got a chip on his shoulder.
Her out.
And I believe he's got.
That sounds like a great idea.
He's got to. People are watching him. And look, you don't think he knows? You don't think he's competitive enough to be like, we got to get to the playoffs? I saw what Tom Brady did last year. We got to get to the playoffs.
Okay, we're getting to the playoffs.
Well, that path is going to be via Mac Jones. Just moments ago, Josh McDaniel, the offensive coordinator there in New England, had this to say on the new starter for the Patriots. Said, I really do feel confident about his approach, his ability to learn, his ability to process information, and really his ability to make a mistake and learn from those two. He's a great listener, and he tries not to make the same mistake twice. So, Nick, the coaching staff confident in the rookie. So you know Bill Belichick is backing him. It sounds like all he's got to do now is go out and, I don't know, live up to everybody's expectations.
Yeah, easier said than done possibly. But yeah, I think that here's the thing for me on Mac Jones, just quickly, Coach. I'm not going to, because he won the quarterback job, I'm not going to drastically change until I see him play in a regular season game what my opinion of him coming out of college was, which is he's fine. He's on an awesome team and he's very well coached. And I think he probably has the traits of, at the best case scenario, solid NFL starter. Solid. I think Flacco, by the way, I think Flacco is probably his best case scenario. And I know Coach and Wilds, who are huge QB wins guys, they're like, Flacco, oh boy, let's take it. I'm not a big quarterback wins guy. And I thought Flacco never was a top 10 quarterback in the league, even the year he won the Super Bowl. He got super hot at the exact right time, and good for him, but I don't think he was ever one of the 10 best quarterbacks in football. I don't think Mac Jones will be one of the 10 best quarterbacks in football at any point in his career. Now, that's obvious total projection because he hasn't played. Never, we got to watch him play, but I wasn't super high on him coming out of Bama, so this isn't going to make me say, like Wilds is saying, the Patriots could go on some run like the Steelers went on with Big Ben. Big Ben's a future Hall of Famer. He's one of the, 20 greatest quarterbacks ever.
The one thing that you said, Nick, that I don't know if I totally agree with, did he really outright win the quarterback competition? Did you really watch the quarterback competition and say, God, this guy is heads and shoulders above Cam Newton? I thought he did some good things for a rookie, but again, it was against competition that was not game planning. That was the second team. This feels like something that they wanted to do because of growth potential, as opposed to him just lighting it up. And I do struggle with 4 sacks in a preseason game, and that to me is the biggest issue. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, all of those guys, they understood where the problems were, and they weren't going to take those hits. And we talk about young quarterbacks all the time taking unnecessary hits. To me, whether or not he even survives the first part of the season is A, how well they run the ball and protect him that way, but B, how well he protects himself because he understands what's coming. You think that it's there, but that those sack numbers in a preseason game are a problem.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.